Hey guys, so I'm coming to you guys with another one of these map breakdown videos because you guys seem to really enjoy the last one. Basically, I'm going to go through the map Oregon today. I'm going to explain 3 sites in Oregon and explain how to defend them and how you guys should be defending them. I'm going through lineup, operators, and stuff like that. I'm going to be playing who to play, where to play, that kind of thing. Basically, just going to break down how I would perfectly defend this map. That way, that maybe you and your rank stack are able to carry this on in you guys' sessions. Obviously, you're not inclined to do this, but this is my perfect lineup for each site. Obviously, they're all subject to change due to the bans and stuff like that. But this is just a lineup that I think perfectly fits for pretty much most lineups and for most stacks. I try to do a pretty simple one because I'm not trying to incorporate like too heavy a stratting because I know that not everyone's able to do that kind of thing and work into those kind of things. So these are just some basic strats where you guys are going to be playing defensive holds on Oregon for this one today. I'm going to start downstairs with laundry, and basically I'm going to be explaining from there. Alright, so first I'm going to be starting with downstairs on the basement site or laundry. Basically, I'm going to be running you guys through the 5 operators and the reinforcements first before I get into actual setups. So first of all, to start with, for operators downstairs, I suggest running Jaeger, Wamai, Goyo, Smoke, and Cade. These 5 operators are pretty standard, I'd like to think, and they all have a good purpose. I'll show you them all in a second here. But before we get into that, let me start with the 10 reinforcements that I recommend. So you want to reinforce the right E-box wall facing towards blue. You also want to reinforce the northeast wall from E-box facing towards, I don't know, backstairs, I would say. Then you want to reinforce this, which is referred to as the single wall, which is inside a supply. Then you want to start by reinforcing the right supply wall, because you're going to be pocketing the second supply wall. There's going to be a rotate here made by smoke later on. But basically, you're going to be opening up reinforcing the right side and opening up the left. And once smoke dies or has to give up the position inside of elbow there, which is this area right here, he's going to back up or someone else is going to reinforce off this wall here. But that's always later in the round, so that's why I didn't show this in the starting reinforcements. Then you're going to be reinforcing the left freezer wall and opening up the right side here. Usually, like I said, it's going to be done by smoke later on, but it's just an angle that you guys can hold from inside of this closet here, and they can get a deep angle that I'll show you later. You're also going to reinforce this wall here. I kind of signified it when I was showing you this last reinforcement, but you're going to reinforce this one up. You're also going to reinforce all 3 hatches. Now that we got reinforcements out of the way, I'm going to be showing what your job as Cade is here. As Cade, your job is relatively easy. You just have these 2 Cade claws, so you're probably going to be the person who does get all 3 hatches and the reinforcements. But I'm going to show you where your Cade claw should go. Your first Cade claw is going to go here, and it has to be in this specific location. This one might take a little bit of practice, but the reason that you want to put it there is because it not only reinforces this single wall here, but it also reinforces your hatch. Both of these reinforcements are incredibly important, especially in a hold, which I'm going to be showing you guys later on, like breaking it down to you. But you want your hatch cated just so they have to use either a Maverick or Thatcher combination to get that off. And you also want the single reinforcement because it also, if it open, it would cause an incredibly strong angle in the sight to be able to watch you guys' sight rotate and any players trying to swing out from over here on the elbow wall. Second Cade is going to go here. The only reason you want it low and not high is because you don't want them to be able to shoot it off if they get E-box control later on. And you're putting it here because once they reinforce this left wall, like so, you're able to shock both of these walls and deny any of this angling that comes from the elbow hallway, and allows yourself to play in a position right here in supply. That way you're able to kind of like sit in an anchor spot and play for a denial if anything like that ever comes to fruition. Your starting position is going to be right about here on the pillar. Basically, your Omai is going to be sitting on this blue door later on. I'll explain. But you want to be playing kind of shield that will be supplied by Goyo, where you can also help with holding down the E-box. You have the 1.5 sight here, so you have a really good advantage for taking on these longer gunfights than Omai would have. You can also hold down blue stairs from a lot tighter angle, your back stairs from a lot tighter angles. And overall, you're just in a really good position here on the pillar with your sight and utility combination. So your job as Cade is relatively simple. Basically, what you're gonna do is set up your 2 shields and pretty much just kind of hang out. I cannot lie, it's just 2 shields. You don't really have a really detailed and deep setup time. So if you want to help with the reinforcements around site, be more than welcome because your smoke is going to need it later on. So for your two shields, they're going to be here. This is where your Wamai is going to end up playing. He's going to be playing in this position with his Wamai gadgets where he's going to just throw them and basically try to burn time. Your second Goyo shield is going to be here. The whole reason for having this one here is just so your Cade, who's going to be playing here, just has a safe place to play. Basically, you want to make sure you have this on the front side and not the back side. That way, if anyone's coming down your back stairs, or your Cade's back stairs, I should say, he has a little nice little comfy corner he can sit in, where he's unexposed to any angles, and pretty much you can just burn time just by being alive in this position. So that's the only reason you want to put it here. And for your positioning, you're going to be playing here and freezer. Basically, what you want to do here is actually pretty much just play your cameras, see for any kind of push they might be doing. You're pretty much an early detection for anyone coming down freezer and on main stairs. Basically, you're in this position, you're just going to be kind of floating around, trying to see, hey, are they pushing me, or are they not? You also have your nitro cell, so if they do push out anyone on pillar and later on they do try to go for plant, say, in this corner, you're able to just tuck out a nitro cell, and deny anything that happens. Obviously, they probably won't plant here. More often than not, they actually try to plant here, which you also can still nitrocell from this door, luckily enough. Just throw your nitrocell, and kapowie. Plants are dead. Basically, yeah, you're just going to be sitting in freezer the entire time, just cycling cams and just helping your team where it's needed. The job of Wamai is relatively simple. Basically, you're going to end up playing on that E-Box store or tarp store where I showed you guys where the Goyo shield's going to be. But before you get there, you want to do is make sure that you set up your proximity mines, which I'll show you where they go now. First one's going to be up there over the main stairs door. A lot of times people try to rat down this staircase here and try to sneak into sight. So you really want to have some early detection for anything like that going on. That way your teammates are able to adjust their attention over here. That way any attempt to rush or sneak into sight is kind of thwarted just because you have a proximity mine, which is really important and really can help you. Say if you even have barbed wire here, it's just not as loud. The proximity lines are pretty loud and gives you a good idea where people are rushing. The other one's going to be here on the back stairs. Basically, this is just an early detection for maybe your Cade, he's in a gunfight or something, he doesn't hear, like, rustling or anything back here. The proximity mine will alert him to somebody on his back stairs. That way he knows not to expose himself to the angle. And as the Wamai, who's going to be end up playing over here on the tarp store, it alerts you that, hey, there's someone on the back stairs. If your Cade calls for help or needs your assistance, you're able to just simply back up based on the noise that you know that they're here now and give a little pre-fire and take them out. Ultimately, though, you'll end up playing here. It's pretty simple. You have a Goyo shield, you have your gadget. You're basically just going to be throwing your gadget out and just trying to burn as much utility as you can. You're not really trying to look for kills here. You're just looking to burn some time because at the end of the day, this is kind of the point of the game. Just protect your shield for as long as possible, but do not play your life here. You're just not required. Basically, just like I said, throw out your Ramais, have your proximity set up, and you're just going to sit here. If they do end up getting your Goyo shield, you just want to rotate back. If you're able to, I'd rotate far though, because if that's an option, I'd rotate far just so you can avoid, trying to run through E-Box. So this wall will be open, this left wall, and running through here it could be a little exposing. You also have holes here on this wall that smoke will make. Basically, it's just going to be another angle that you can play if you don't want to play exactly on your Goyo shield. Just kind of challenge the people outside from here. It'll be better when I make it with smoke, but yeah, basically you're going to just play in this area until you get overpressured, and you just rotate back to site. Alright, so I kind of saved one of the harder ops for later on, which is the job of smoke. As smoke, you kind of have a lot that you're doing during the fifth phase, so it's more than likely that you're not going to be one that reinforces. But starting off with the holes that you're going to be making, you're going to be making holes here in the freezer wall. For the reason being, you want to crouch holes, so anyone playing a freezer can rotate in and out, playing for this angle, anyone playing on pillar, and then also having the angle here for the box angle, which you're also going to be making a hole here. Reason for this hole, as you can see, is you're able to see a pretty far angle for anyone coming down your freezer stairs. Granted, the push might come that way. Next hole is going to be here. This is just me your connector in between the two sites. You also want to put a hole on this right side because it slides you a little pixel peak. A lot of times when people are putting front side, they like to sit in that position there, and you actually have a little pixel angle that you can hold to pretty much prevent them from pushing up as well if they do try to push from close. You're also going to be putting a hole here. I think I explained this earlier with the reinforcements. You basically just want to open this up so that you can play inside this elbow. You'll have Jaegers that I'll show you guys in the next operator, but basically you're gonna be sitting in there with an elbow, wasting time until you come back and reinforcing this off. But you do need to make this hole. The next hole is gonna be here in the E-box wall. Basically, for your cage, he's gonna be playing on the single wall. You do need this hole just so he's able to actually see outside and actually play his shield effectively. And your other hole being here. Reason being, when your MI is playing inside the shield here, he likes sometimes it's a common angle. I think Shaiko is the one who kind of used this one the most, kind of fundamentally founded this one. But when this door is open, hold on. You can see on the right side of the door, if you back up far enough, you can actually see people on the pillar, on the barrels. So it's just a nice little angle for Gomai, so he's not always kind of forced to keep swinging on this door here. You can back up a bit and play here, where you can also see just as much. You're going to be putting your shield here, and ultimately playing here. You don't want to put your shield actually too close to this wall. It's not so common, but I mean, some people do kind of know. If you do bounce an impact here and say your ADS is actually on this side of the wall, if anyone impacts or nades anyone here, basically it's going to destroy the shield and you're going to get no value for it. The ADSs actually won't catch it. The ADS, for anything to destroy this shield in specific, it actually has to cross by the ADSs or it just won't get it. So that's why you're more often than not want to put your shield a little bit farther back. That way you're able to play it a little bit in a more safer aspect to the point where your ADSs will catch anything coming towards your shield. And it's just ultimately a better fit just because you have more time to react to anything that does come because it will have to get burned. If they do force you out of there, what you're going to do is basically reinforce this wall like so. And you're usually comfortable to play here because this wall should be caded from the cade that I explained earlier. Basically, you're going to plan an area where you have your shotgun up in case they do try to flood through sight, and you're able to get your free pickings. Last, but definitely not the least important, I'm going to be covering the job of the Jaeger. Um, for playing wise, it's pretty simple. I'll explain to you guys where you're going to be putting your 3DSs. So let me start with that. First, you're going to be placing these guys here on the blue tarp door. This is just another line of defense to help you Romai. Granted, he will have his disc to throw out. He would be nice to have another ADS just to kind of help and give like the last like sign of the shields before he's gonna die. So you want to make sure you put one here. The other two are gonna go here. This is just inside of elbow or blue bunker, whatever you like to call it with your team. But basically, since your smoke's gonna be playing back on a shield around here, you just need something to protect that shield. Granted that Wamai should burn a bit of utility over there by himself. There's just going to be a little bit left over for your smoke to try to burn. So basically, he's going to be sitting back here on the shield. And it'd be just nice to have his two ADSs there. You're going to be putting your barbed wire here on the back stairs. Just so if anyone's trying to push down and kill your Amahi or your cage who's going to be on pillar, they're going to be a little slowed down and also going to be rustling. In case they do destroy the proximity mine, there's going to be a little bit more rustling and a little bit more of a sound indicator for the people who are playing in these positions to kind of be wary of. And the other piece is going to be going here for the front side push that might come. Basically, you just want to have some barbed wire in the front. That way, if anyone does try to come through the front side, they are going to be slowed, and there is just another sound indicator on top of the proximity mine that will be there. It's just something to kind of another deterrent so they're not able to just be inside immediately because you will have a player in freezer. And basically, for your Jaeger position, for the Jaeger position, you can be kind of a bit of anywhere. Basically, your main idea is if you can start by roaming inside a big tower, that would be preferred. If you could shoot a drone and just kind of escape. What I really want you to do as a Jaeger player here is just kind of burn time in drones. And in ranked, it's not really that important to roam with others just because people aren't clearing that heavily or that intensely. So if you're able to just shoot drones and kind of rotate around the map and just basically force them to either worry about your presence or just like take out some of their like drone economy, then you're doing a good job. If you possible and they don't drone you here and they just kind of do a full blue take, you're able to just kind of rotate down this back staircase here and just kind of help your teammates who are playing these positions just by holding a little basic angle here. Obviously, if that's not the case and they're pushing front side, you can rotate up and rotate all the way around to front side and flank them. It's really just up to your personal preference with Jaeger here. Just personally, I don't prefer having all 5 members on site on that site, just because the way utility meta has changed. If you're able to roam around, shoot some drones, even get a pick if you're lucky, that would be perfectly fine. I don't recommend Jaeger playing at site. Just overall, just feel better off just starting him all, just kind of doing his own thing. Okay, so before I show you guys the kid site, I was editing this together and I realized that the first site alone is like 14 minutes worth of video. So I am going to go through the rest of the sites, don't get me wrong, but it's probably not going to be as greatly detailed because I do not want this to be a 45-minute video. I just kind of want this to be a semi-short video where I just explain to you guys the sites and the operators and stuff like that so that, people can watch it and you scroll through this pretty quick. So the rest of the sites I'm going to do relatively fast and quick and the operators. So if there's any like clarification or anything like that you want, I can give it down to the comments, but outside of that, I'm going to try to get through the rest of these operators relatively quickly. Alright, now that I got that out of the way, I am going to cover the 5 operators that you are going to cover this site, and basically explain all their positions. It's going to be a similar kind of holds where you're trying to burn time with utility and stuff like that, but I'm going to cover it right now. So for the 5 operators that you want to bring for the kids' dorm site, it's going to be Jaeger, Wamai, Smoke, Mute, and Malusi. All 5 of the operators have a purpose, obviously, and I'll explain them to you here. But first, before we do that, let me get to the reinforcements now. Alright, so your first 2 reinforcements are going to be going on the attic wall on the north wall. Next 2 are going to be on the attic wall on the south wall. Then you're going to get the south wall of the attic to kids walls. Next, you're going to be getting the games room wall facing towards master closet. And lastly, you're going to be getting the west wall of kids dorms. You do have 2 more reinforcements. Some teams like to put them downstairs in meeting and play inside a meeting. I'm not going to recommend that for this strat, but it is an option if you want to do that. Also, you can reinforce the master walls facing towards Armory Hallway if you want to do that, because some teams like to play inside a trophy and master area. Obviously, it's just up to you and your pick. I just personally, more often than not, end up saving these last 2 walls because some people like to reinforce this off if they lose attic control and force the defenders to push through attic. And I like that strategy a bit, so I prefer doing that over the other 2 reinforcements. But like I said, it's up to your personal discretion. But now that we got the reinforcements out of the way, let me cover the job of the Malusi. For your first Malusi, I recommend you do it inside of attic on the west wall over this hatch. Later on, you'll have your smoke open it. That way, it's harder for attacking teams to try to punch this open or destroy this. But I recommend putting it here just because it's going to slow them when they're trying to push through attic and aggress down all towards swamp. Your next Malusi is going to go here on the dorms door facing towards trophy. And your last Malusi is going to go on white, just so they can, if they're trying to push up white, they're slowed and there's a sound indicator. For your starting position, I recommend you actually play inside of attic. Like I said before, this hatch is going to be open, and you also want to have your smoke open of this hatch so you have a free rotate. Basically, what you want to do here is actually just play inside of the meeting hall, play up the hatch, and when they're trying to walk across and they're slowed by your Malusi, you're usually able to get a free pick if they do not drone you out. Obviously, if you get droned out and you're being pressured, you can drop the hatch. And then basically you're going to just lurk downstairs and try to get an idea where they're planting because you do have a nitro cell in pocket that you can use. But overall, you're just pretty much going to be your team's roamer for this site in specific. Alright, now that we covered the job of Lucy, we're going to cover the job of the mute. Your job here is relatively simple. First, you're going to open this hatch and the one below it. Then you're going to be placing your mutes here for the attic wall, here for the attic drop-off, here for the trophy door, and here for the master wall. And your job for your site is going to be right about here. Basically, you're going to be playing close on this dorm's hall, or dorm's main wall, like trophy door. You should be playing in this area, and if anyone tries to swing you or break the barbed wire that's inevitably going to be here, you're just going to pump shotgun them. It's pretty straightforward. You have the pump shotgun. This thing hurts. Anyone who peeks you will regret it. So yeah, you're just going to play the tuck position here by the door and just pretty much play pretty aggro and try to fight for like just your territory here. You don't want them to give up even an inch. Obviously, if they get the wall open, you're probably going to be more or less in a pinch. You can nitro cell to try to get away, but more often than not, you're going to be trying to get kills here and just playing really aggressive. Just trying to make sure you get opening picks for your team. Obviously, don't play too aggressive because the shotgun does have its limits. I wouldn't recommend swinging in a trophy trying to fight someone outside of Master with shotgun because you probably will lose that. But if someone's in your vicinity, I would take that gunfight 10 times out of 10. Next, we're going to be covering the job of the Wamai. It's relatively simple. You're going to be running proximity mines, which you're going to be placing here, just to give you mute intel for someone being inside of his trophy. And here, just so anyone trying to sneak up white is not only slowed by the Malusi, but also a really loud noise indicates to everyone that they are here in case they can't just hear the noise of the Malusi going off from a distance and stuff like that. Lastly, you're going to be playing here in Attic. Your job's going to be relatively simple. You're going to have a shield provided by Smoke later on that you just have to protect. You're going to be using your gadget accordingly to basically make sure that they can't destroy said shield, and if they do get said shield, you'll just leave through the rotate. That will be provided by the Smoke later on. But yeah, that's pretty much all you do as Wamai. Now that I cover the job of the Wamai, time to cover the job of the Smoke. Your job, as Smoke, you're going to be making this rotate, and this rotate. Your shield's going to be going here, and you'll end up playing a position similar to this. Basically, a Smoke, you can sit on cams for the most part if you'd like. That's what's recommended, I'd say. You can just sit on cams and give your calls to your teammates. If you see idea where the push is coming, say if they need you to open up the kids hatch for them, you're in a prime position to do everything that you need. If they get open the main wall, you're able to deny this plant pretty simply. You can smoke here. Oh, not there. Sorry, that's actually not where you want. But you can smoke like right here. It actually will poof through the wall. So the typical default plant spot, another plant spot that people tend to go to is here, which, like I said, you're also still in a prime position to do. Just smoke there, and would you believe it? They get smoked through the wall again. So pretty much, yeah, your job as smoke is just to play your life and just use your gas to deny plants. If they do end up pressuring you, you do still have this M59 that does pack a punch. So if they do come through the attic rotate somehow, because you guys didn't reinforce this off, you are able to play a position close where you're just able to pump them and stuff like that. But outside of that, you have a pretty simple job as smoke. It's just staying alive and using your utility. Alright, last but not least, we're going to cover the Jaeger. Your job here is to place your ADSs here, 2 stacked for your mute so you can play close to the trophy door. And here. This ADS is to help your Wamai with his shield because he's not going to have the time to throw all of his disc maybe. And it's just another backup to help him to like give a final indicator that, hey, they're about to destroy your shield, get out of there. You're going to be placing your barbed wire here. This hatch will be open, so they're going to be forced to kind of walk through or destroy it, which will give the Wamai an opportunity to swing. Here, basically this is just to help your mute whenever they try to push up. You might want to put this a little bit closer to the door. I just place it here. Basically, if they go to break this barbed wire, your mute's in the prime position to take them out. And if they do try to swing them, they'll be slowed down. So it just works in everybody's favor if you put that shed barbed wire here. Alright, so for kitchen dining, this is one of the harder sites to run. It is going to be a little bit of rotations, so hopefully you and your team can kind of talk it out and figure out what you want to be doing there. It's not like incredibly uber difficult, but it is kind of something that you should probably like work on and talk about with your team so that you guys can do properly. For the operator lineup, this one's going to be Jaeger, Wamai, Maestro, Goyo, and Castle. Before we get into the operators and like, what they do and all that stuff, I should start by showing you guys the reinforcements. So let's get started. Your first 2 reinforcements will be going on the back kitchen wall facing meeting, both dining walls facing small tower, the west shower wall, the north shower wall, the 2 kids' walls facing towards attic, and the other 2 kids' walls facing towards big window. Now that we got that out of the way, I can cover the job of the castle. Your job here is going to be a little bit demanding due to the fact that you are kind of like one of the primary people to shotgun in this lineup. Obviously, Maestro has a shotgun as well, but his is a little bit harder to kind of manage with. So you will be the main shotgunner for this site and in this lineup. But to begin with, I'll show you your castles. First one's going to be on the bottom white stairs window, the one facing towards outside. Second one's going to be on the shower's hall window facing outside. And your last one's going to be on the back kitchen door facing towards green hall. I recommend running a bulletproof camera and setting it right here. That way you're able to see if once they open up the wall and pretty much a good idea where they're going to be planting. And for holes, you're going to be opening up the security wall and the hatch, the kids hatch, and this angle here. When you make this angle, you have to make sure that you destroy all of these little wood pieces, and I'll explain why. This showers rotate, and this showers rotate. Granted, Maestro can help you with these 2 shower rotates. It might take him a little bit longer, so it doesn't help to, it doesn't hurt to come and help him while he does this, because he does have a hole in Maestro cams that he'll be making himself. The reason that you had to destroy these little pick particle things here Is because if you don't destroy them, you actually don't get the angle that you're looking to get when you open up the top of that wall, which is at an angle to where the people default plant, which is there. Or it's hard to ping actually from this angle, but basically, most people try to plant in that area right there, and here's an angle that you could hold to deny that. But with little part metal, or I mean the wood pieces in the way, it does become a problem and gets in the way, so you do need to shoot this out so the player upstairs is able to see that. Now that we cover the job of the castle, time to cover the job of the Goyo. Your job here is to place these two shields. First one going here in the shower's hallway. You want to make sure you don't actually connect it to the wall, but actually leave this little gap here, and I'll explain. And here inside of showers on the right side, basically just gives a position for the person who's impact tricking the shower wall here, which I'll talk about more later. But basically the person playing in here is just going to be behind the shield, and they just need a little space to say. It also provides some coverage when they do try to back up to the rotate. They'll ultimately be here. Obviously it's not here right now because I don't have a shotgun on my Goyo, but yeah. For the rotate, it gives them cover when they're trying to back out if they are able to open up this wall because it will be reinforced. Your starting position will be about here. The reason that you have the Goyo shield backed up a bit is because your Jaeger is going to be putting two ADSs, or at least, no, I think it's going to be two ADSs here on this wall. And you want to make sure that the ADS is actually able to catch stuff. If the shield's connected, the shield can't be protected from with the ADSs, and it'll just be ultimately destroyed. But with the ADSs, it does supply some connection, some kind of like coverage. So when they're swinging, you have an opportunity to swing them since they'll be having a gadget out, and you'll be playing here with your nitrocell until you have to rotate out. Now that we cover the Goyo, I'm going to be covering the job of the Maestro. For starters, I recommend that you push your cams in these two positions. Here, overseeing the table. That way, if they do open up this main wall, you have a Maestro cam and infinite intel along with the bulletproof camera will be there. It's able to also deny the plant if you're able to get on it. You're going to be able to see the default plant spot there and pretty much kill the planter. For your second Maestro cam, it's going to go here in the shower's hall. Basically, this camera is just another sort of intel for the player who will have a Goyo shield here. Say, for example, the shield gets destroyed and they don't have a way to actually actively hold the hallway. They're able to have someone or themselves play on this camera to tell them if they need a swing on the hall for anyone who's trying to pressure your guy out of showers. So basically, this one's just a big intel camera. Also, you're able to use it to destroy any drones that come down the hallway. And ultimately, you'll be starting in here. I recommend Maestro as the first player to play here just because it's easier for him to rotate out and switch with Omai, because if stuff goes wrong, I'd rather have Omai like stuck in here in the situation instead of Maestro. You're just going to be impact tricking this wall here, like so. If they do try to like put any breaching charge or bombs or anything on this single wall, because you do want to try to hold this position in showers rather long. You also want to make sure that you're using your bailiff to make these holes here. And if you can help castle with these rotates, obviously, like I said, making these holes with this pistol is a little difficult because the limited capacity and the size of the hole. But if you are able to help castle, it would be a big help, and just spend your time doing such. Next, the job of the Lamai is pretty simple. I meant to bring impacts, but I kind of clicked the wrong thing. You're supposed to have impacts here. But basically, what you want to do is start around here. Basically, you're just going to stay in this hallway and help with the Goyo and the Maestro. If they need help, say for example, they're actively pushing this hallway, you're able to throw down some Omais to help her with the assist with the ADSs. Also, the same can be said for throwing some of your Omais inside of showers to help for the Maestro who's going to be playing on a Goyo shield. So basically, you're going to be rotating there until the Maestro uses his two impacts. Once the Maestro's done and he rotates out, you're going to rotate into the shield, and then you're going to be playing your impacts to try to impact trick for anyone trying to get this wall. Basically, you want to try to waste as much of the hard breaching as you can, just basically impact tricking it. Like I said, forgot to bring impacts, but give the idea that you basically should be throwing your impacts just the same as Maestro on the ground anytime they try to hard breach this single wall here. Okay, so lastly, the job of the Jaeger. It's pretty simple as well. You're going to be placing your first two ADSs here. These ADSs are to cover for your Goyo shield that will ultimately be here. Your last ADS goes here. This is just another secondary kind of projectile denial for the Goyo shield that's going to be inside of showers. You're going to be placing your barbed wire here and here. Basically, this barbed wire is just, typical entry stuff. You want to slow them down. And for your positioning, you're going to be playing here. Basically, you're gonna be the player that holds the angle through the hatch. Obviously, I can't make it because Jaeger doesn't have a shotgun like with him. I mean, I technically does have a shotgun, but I'm not. I didn't bring it. So because you have your gun's gonna do the most damage to the player who's trying to go for the plant. As you could have Castle up here, who will be up here to help you. Jaeger's gun is probably gonna be the best for the job when it comes to denying that plant because he has the most consistent gun damage-wise at range compared to the other operators in the lineup. And but yeah, basically you and Castle are gonna hold upstairs and ultimately try to deny the plant through the hatch. And that about covers it. Again, I'm certain this is gonna be a really long video, and I'm really sorry about that. I know the last one I made, people asked me to be a lot more specific in the stuff that I was doing, so I tried to make this one a little bit more specific. If this one's like too long or you guys didn't watch all the way through, I completely understand. I'll probably just check the analytics on this one, see where people start to drop out. If it's too long, I won't make the next one this long. I'll just be a lot shorter and more to the point. I just wanted to try to cover it and explain it because people are saying that I should have explained it more, so they can kind of understand like like what's going on and why they're doing this and explain this and the other. So I tried to be a little bit more detailed. Obviously, I might have gone a little too far and explained a little too much because this video is gonna be like 30 minutes. Might not be 30 minutes. Maybe it's only like 20, but still. It's gonna be a relatively long video, so I'm really sorry about that, guys. Outside of that, I do have my You're Defending Wrong video coming in like 2 days, or Friday, I should say, depending on when you're watching this video. I don't want to like say 2 days, but Friday. So I'll be explaining basically the defending portion of my last video that I posted last Friday, which was You're Attacking Wrong. If you guys haven't seen that, you should check that out. Basically, just explaining what you guys can be doing on defense this week, though. But outside of that, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, love you guys. Talk to you guys in the next one.